Hey guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Kim and this is Expedition 3 Pages. So guys, on the 13th of June 2024, which will never not sound space age to me, I will be turning 40 years old. 40. So I thought it was about time to make a list of 40 books I would like to read before I'm 40. I will be starting this challenge, well, officially starting it at the start of January. So the only reason that I'm deciding to start this at the start of January and not like right now is because I've already got my TBR planned for the whole of November. And in December, I can only read books from my TBR jar because of my backstabbing TBR game. If you haven't seen my TBR game before, it's called Tales from Two Trails. And essentially there's one really great trail that you can end on and there's one really evil trail you can end on. Really evil is maybe a bit extreme. We ended the game on that evil trail this last month. And so for the whole of December, I can't choose my own TBR. If by some miracle a book that I pull from that jar is on this list, then that just means I get a head start and happy days for me. But the likelihood of that, I feel like it's quite low. So I'm not going to get my hopes up. So anyway, moving on, 40 books to read before I'm 40. So most of these books on my TBR, I didn't necessarily pull from those lists of like 10 greatest books of all time, 100 greatest books of all time. I didn't go down that road. I did look at some of those lists and then write down books that I was meaning to read. But a lot of these books on the list, I actually own them already and I just really want to read them. And for some reason, I haven't been prioritizing them where maybe I should have been. So I think making this list is just an extra incentive to try and get to them as soon as possible because I'm so excited about so many of them that, well, all of them on this list I really want to get to. And so this helps me push myself to do that, basically. I did work out some stats. So if I was to start this challenge on the 1st of January and I don't manage to pull any of these books from my jar, then I've got 529 days to complete it before I turn 40. That might include my birthday, but whatever. I get a free pass on my birthday. I can't remember what dates I use for that. The total number of pages that I would have to read in that time is 18,051. And that works out at 35 pages a day I would have to read in order to complete this challenge, which sounds completely doable, but when you throw in the fact that I'm also going to be playing my TBR game again next month and there'll be like book club books to read and other books that I want to read, you know, it kind of complicates things a little bit. Before I start going through my list, I just wanted to mention that this is going to be like a new goal on my TBR game. So if you are someone that likes to play along or if you are interested in playing along next year for the next round, then feel free if you want to make your own list. It doesn't have to be 40 books to read before you're 40 or your next birthday or whatever it is. It can be anything like just top 10 books that you want to prioritize or just, you know, a list of priorities, whatever they are to you. I just thought I'd let you know in case you wanted to prep your own list ready for the game when we start it in January, because hopefully it will come up a lot. Fingers crossed. Okay, let's start with the list. So this is in no particular order. This is just the order that I wrote them down in, basically. So yeah, we'll go from there. The very first book on this list is one that popped into my head as soon as I started thinking about what books to add, and that is Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I have really wanted to read this book for absolutely ages. I don't really know what it's about, and I'm, well, much the same with a lot of these books on this list. I'm just scared of spoilers, basically, because a lot of them are classics or have been out for a really long time. And I've done well, like, avoiding spoilers for stuff, but things are getting risky now, guys. It's getting risky. I want to read Rebecca before I know too much about it. I already keep learning more and more, and I just want to get to it so that I can enjoy it without knowing too much, basically. I have read from Daphne du Maurier before. I read Frenchman's Creek. I did enjoy the story. I think I gave it 3 stars, but I just think everybody loves Rebecca, and I want to know why. And I think I will enjoy it. So yeah, that is number 1 on the list. Next up is the first of one of 4 fantasy series that I want to read before I turn 40. That I want to read like next week, to be honest. All of them I want to read next week, but that ain't possible. So the first fantasy series on this list is the Daevabad, is that what it's called? Daevabad trilogy by S.A. Chakraborty. I have heard so many great things about this series. I'm so excited to read it. I just want to read it now. I just want to go away and read it now, but I can't. So this does count as books 2, 3, and 4 on the list. So I'm not counting this for like one book because that would be crazy. I'm going to stop saying it after this, but again, I don't know anything about this series. I don't want spoilers. I just want to jump into the world and find out what's going on. I'm really, really excited. Okay, second fantasy series on the list is the Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson. I cannot wait to get to this. I'm so excited. All I know about this is that there's elemental magic, and that's literally it. Oh, and the fact that he creates all the science for the magic, so it makes sense. So I'm super interested in that to see what he's come up with. And yeah, haven't read any Brandon Sanderson before. Everybody loves him. I've spent the last 2 years reading through Robin Hobb's The Realm of the Elderlings, so now it's time to move on to some Sanderson reads. This list is completely random, sorry guys. I didn't order it into genres or anything, because next up we've got The Handmaid's Tale. Oh god, I can never pronounce any of those words properly. The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. I really want to read this book before I attempt to watch the series, and I think that they're on series 5 now for The Handmaid's Tale. And yeah, I just want to read the book before I watch the series so I know what the story is. So that's on this list because of that reason. Book number 9 is controversially a reread. And that is Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. What I will try to do is actually physically read this book, because before I listen to it, I might listen to it and read along with it if I own it. I can't remember if I do. I think I do. And it was a really good audiobook. But the reason that I want to reread this and the reason that it's on this list is because the 10th book on the list is The Other Bennet Sister by Janice Hadlow. I just think, even though I know the storyline of Pride and Prejudice, I do want to reread it and before I read this one, just to refresh myself and get like the best experience about this, because this book follows Mary. Yeah, so it tells Mary Bennet's story, who I think doesn't have much of a storyline in this at all. She's more of a background sister, I think. A background sister, is that right? I don't know. This is what I've heard, and this is why I need to do a reread because I can't remember. So yeah, this is storyline, I think, and apparently it's really clever and it's really smart, and I really want to find out what happens in this one. Similarly, I want to read Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, and then I would like to read The Wide Sargasso Sea, because The Wide Sargasso Sea is a prequel, I believe, to Jane Eyre. So The Wide Sargasso Sea is written by Jean Rhys. And yeah, I've heard so much about this book recently. And the thing is, because I've heard so much about it recently, I thought it was a new book. But then when I was looking it up, it was first published in 1966. So it's a classic in itself. I'm holding this up, but no, I mean The Wide Sargasso Sea was published in 1966 for the first time. But anyway, yeah, that is supposed to be a prequel to Jane Eyre, and so I would like to read Jane Eyre first and then read The Wide Sargasso Sea. I did start Jane Eyre and I got to like page 74 and I was enjoying it. I might just start from kind of where I left off, maybe just refresh myself a bit and carry on. But yeah, those two are on my list as well. Number 13 is The Last Children of Tokyo by Yoko Tawada. And this is a dystopian set in Japan, where Japan is kind of closed off to the rest of the world. And the elderly people in the country are really healthy and they've got long, long lives. But the children are very sickly. And I did start reading this and I was loving it, but I had to put it down because of other reads probably. But it's pretty short, so I reckon actually you could probably do this in like one sitting if you just gave yourself a few hours to sit down and read. Maybe 2 sit-ins for me because I'm slow, but I was really enjoying it. I got to page 56 and I thought it was very fascinating. So I really want to read it properly all the way through. And this is one that I will definitely start again because I can't really remember what was going on. But yes, this is number 13. Number 14 is Imago by Octavia E. Butler. This is book number 3 in the Lilith's Brood series. This is a really fascinating series about humanity destroying themselves or almost destroying themselves and aliens coming down to essentially save humans from themselves and try and create better life in a way. And it's just one of the most fascinating series I've ever read and just a really interesting look at humanity and about control and about consent and about so many other things, sexuality, gender, everything. It's just really interesting series, and this is the last book in the series, and I'm really excited to get to it. Book number 15 is Suda by Toni Morrison. This is, I believe, her second published book. I just want to read Toni Morrison books in publication order. I don't know why I decided to do that, but I've decided to do that. And this last month I read The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison, which was her debut novel, and really enjoyed it. So I really want to make sure that I carry on reading through her work. And the next one on the list is Suda. And I don't actually know what that's about, so I look forward to picking that up. Number 16 is The Long Song by Andrea Levy. Andrea Levy wrote Small Island, which I adored, and yeah, I've read another book by her. I can't remember what it was called now, but anyway, I read another book which I really enjoyed as well that was set in the 70s in London. I decided to pick this one to read next just because I keep seeing it in bookshops and stuff, so aside from Small Island, I feel like this one must be quite popular as well, so I decided to go with this one next. Number 17 is Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. My mum really likes this book, and so I've put it on the list. That's basically the reason it's on the list, I suppose. The only Charles Dickens book that I've read is Little Dorrit, and that was long, but I really, really like that. So I have high hopes for Great Expectations, because it's obviously one of his more well-known books as well. Next up is the third fantasy series on this list, and that is The Kingkiller Chronicle by Patrick Rothfuss. The first one being The Name of the Wind, the second one being The Wise Man's Fear. I've only heard amazing things about this trilogy, except the third book hasn't come out for years and years and years, and everybody's just waiting for it to come out. But I did ask someone the other day if it was worth it anyway, just reading the first two, if they're so good. Like, does it matter that we don't have the third one yet? And they said no, it doesn't matter, they're too good to read, just read them. So I'm gonna read it. And then just really hope that he brings out the third book before I'm 40. That can be his goal. Number 20 is Middlemarch by George Eliot. The only reason that this book, this massive book, is on the list is because George Eliot is from Coventry, and my partner is originally from Coventry, and so he points it out in every bookshop we go to. Well, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but he does point it out like quite a lot when we see it, and so I just want to read it to find out what it's like. Number 21 is The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. I want to read this because I read The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells and absolutely loved it, so I just want to try some more of his works, and The Time Machine seems like a good choice. Number 22 is Frost Art 3 by Jamie Littler, Rise of the World Eater. I have read books 1 and 2, so they're not here, but I liked book number 1, but I loved book number 2. It really made me quite emotional when I was reading it, so I'm really excited to pick this up. Next up we have 2 books by Emily St. John Mandel. I read Station 11 recently and really, really liked it, and so I have been told that to read them in order of publication. They're not directly related, I don't think, but to read them in publication order makes it really satisfying when you get to Sea of Tranquility. So I plan on reading The Glass Hotel first and then The Sea of Tranquility, and finding out why it's so satisfying. Number 25. This list is long. Number 25 is Kintu by Jennifer Nansavuga Makumbi. This book I want to read precisely because I read The First Woman by the same author and absolutely loved this book. I adored this book. I highly recommend this book if you like family kind of, I don't want to say family drama because I feel like it does it down. It's about this young girl called Chirabo who, her mum left when she was very young, or before she was born. She couldn't do that. About her mum who's gone basically from her life, and it's about her trying to find out the truth of what actually is going on and happening. But I just absolutely love this. I love the characters. I felt like if this was on TV every day, just following the lives of these characters, I would watch it every single day. I loved this book. And so therefore I basically went almost straight away to buy the other novel that the author has written, and I'm super excited to read this one. Number 26 is The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt, and this is humongous. But again, I don't know what this is about. Damn it, I said it again. But I have heard it's amazing, and this is a really great reading experience. So I'm excited, really excited to pick this up. Well, I said excited and apprehensive, I would say, because it is so massive, and it's not fantasy, so I feel like massive fantasy books don't make me worry anymore, because I feel like I love that genre so much. But this isn't a fantasy genre. I don't know how I'm going to get on with it, but hopefully I love it. Number 27 is A Beautifully Foolish Endeavour by Hank Green. I read the first book, An Absolutely Remarkable Thing. I couldn't remember what it was called then. Oh, this is signed by Hank. I love Hank Green. I love the Vlogbrothers. And yeah, Spencer and I both read together An Absolutely Remarkable Thing and did like it. It was good. This is book 2 and it's only a duology, so this is the final book. So at some point I will be making Spencer read this with me if he wants to. He doesn't have to, because we've got to finish it. We've got to finish it and find out what the hell's going on. Next up is the 4th and final fantasy series on the list. And why am I taking it out of its box? Don't do that. This is the Broken Earth trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. Why have I not read this yet? Who knows? Because it's been on my list for ages, but it combines the 5th season, the Obelisk Gate, and the Stone Sky. I think one of the reasons that I haven't picked it up yet, aside from trying to read a million other things, is because everybody loves this book, but then don't enjoy the final 2 as much. Which, I don't know, makes me sad. But maybe because I have lower expectations of the last 2 books, maybe I'll feel like they're better than expected, if you know what I mean. But I don't know. Number 31 on the list is Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead by Olga. I don't want to butcher her surname because I tried to say it before and I just don't think I don't do a good job of it. But this book, I basically picked it up on a whim in a bookshop. I think maybe at an airport or something. Because I don't know, I was really drawn to this very, like, plain cover. And such a plain cover and such an interesting title. Oh, winner of the Nobel Prize in Literature. I did not know that, even though I've had this book for a long, long time. Number 32 is Hollowpox by Jessica Townsend, which is the 3rd in the Moroccan Crow series. This is another series that I started reading with Spence, actually, and we just haven't read book 3. And this book came out a really long time ago now. I wouldn't be surprised if the 4th one is already out and I just haven't, it's like gone by me. Because, yeah, we've just taken so long. I think we have tried to read it a few times. I don't know what's gone on, but we just haven't finished it. So we need to get on this and complete this book. So I completely lied to you about there being only 4 fantasy series on this list. There are actually 5. The next few books on this list are the first 3 books of the Dragon Riders of Pern series. I don't know, I get a bit confused about this series because there's like 20 odd books in the series or something, and I don't know if they're like different trilogies or if they're one big series. I was getting a bit confused looking it up. But anyway, I own the first 5 books of this series because my dad wanted me to read them and I never ever read them. And so I thought for this, the purpose of this list, I will put the first 3 on it. This is a series by Anne McCaffrey, and all I know about them is that there are dragons in them, but there are dragons like dragons are animals rather than dragons you can talk to, I think. The first book is called Dragonflight, the second one is Dragon Quest, and the third one is Dragon Song. So those 3 are on my list. They're not huge books either, so the first book is like 299 pages, so for fantasy they're quite short, so hopefully I can get through them pretty quick. Book number 36 is Inkheart by Cornelia Funk. This, I don't know why I want to read this book. It's just, I think the cover's so cute. Although I don't think if I buy it, I can get that cover because I think it might be the American cover. But it's so cute and there's something that draws me in with this book. I just want to read it. So it's on the list, even though I don't know why it's on the list. Book number 37 is The Light Fantastic by Terry Pratchett. I've read the first book in the Discworld series and this is the second one, basically, so that's the next one I would like to read. Book number 38 on the list is one that I have also heard amazing things about, and that is Felix Ever After, and it's by Kaysen Callender. This book might be the only YA on the list, actually. I don't think I've got middle grade, but I don't think, unless Hank Green is YA, maybe Hank Green is YA. But anyway, that is, yeah, okay. I don't know if it's the only YA book or not. Number 39 on the list is Terra Nullius by Claire G. Coleman. This book was actually recommended to me by the lovely Mel from A Book Fiend Named Mel. And yeah, I will link down to Mel's video in the description where you can go and see. It wasn't just me she recommended a book to, it was a whole bunch of other booktubers as well. And so yeah, I really want to give it a go and see what I think, because I really appreciate Mel giving me the recommendation. And to be fair, it does sound like a book that I would really like. So yeah, thanks again to Mel for recommending me this, and it is on the list. And then finally, number 40 on the list is Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata. This I've wanted to read for ages. I feel like I'm going to really identify with this book. I don't know, well, I do know why. This follows a woman who is pretty settled. She's worked in the convenience store for 18 years, it says on the back. And she's pretty chill. This is what I've heard about it anyway. She's pretty chill, she's happy, but all her friends and family are like, don't you want more for yourself? Why are you working in a convenience store? Like, can't you do something else? And that's not what she wants. And that just really intrigues me as a premise. And this was actually in my work's like shared library where we can swap in books and stuff. So I swapped the Night Circus for this, and I think it's going to be a good swap. Fingers crossed. Okay, so that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. 40 books is a lot of books. If anybody would like to buddy read any of these with me or set up a buddy reading group with me, then please let me know, because I'd absolutely love to do that, and it would help get through the list for sure. So yeah, if next year you're planning on reading any of these books and you want to buddy read them, then please let me know. Also, if there are any books on this list that you think that I should like read first, because I don't know how to prioritize these in any kind of way. They're all just kind of one priority. Maybe like the more seasonal ones I could fit in at the appropriate times, but that doesn't really bother me too much. I can read books out of season. So yeah, let me know what you think. And if you read any of these, did you really like them? Did you hate them? Do you think I'm gonna hate them? Do you think I'm gonna love them? Yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts on them, as long as there's no spoilers. But yeah, anyway, I hope you guys are all doing well and that you're having a lovely November, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Bye.